Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Soebbing. As promised a couple of days ago when we did our Congruence tutorial replay, which is this pattern here, we're going to do a quilting play-by-play today. And you're going to get to see on our GoPro as I am actually quilting it, so you can see close up what I'm doing, as well as a side camera so you can see how I'm working across the quilt. So we're excited to be able to share this with you, mostly because it's my fabric collection, so it's super exciting, but also because today's quilting stitch looks totally awesome, but it's super fast and super simple. It's just wavy lines and we're going across the quilt. So we'll see that I'm just doing different wavy lines to kind of follow the curve of the diamond and have that just go straight across. It's really fun, it's really cool, it's very simple, and I know a lot of times once we get to the quilting stage we kind of just want to hurry up and get it done, but you spent all the time and money to piece the quilt top that I think your quilt top deserves some attention too. And today's example is a stitch that you can do fairly easily and fast on your machine. And so that way you can get it done quickly, you can have the satisfaction of getting that quilt done, but it's still quilted pretty densely and in like a modified custom way. And so it really looks very neat and it gives your quilt top, it helps bring it to life when you have good quilting like this, when you've chosen the design well to help accentuate what the design is on your quilt. And I feel that a lot of times we miss that when we just do something quickly and largely in order to get it done. And then sometimes you can have issues where like your batting will shift and all that. But this way looks fabulous, and it was easy and it was fast. And those are all things that I know you guys love because I know you want to finish more quilts. All right, so I'm going to turn on my computer and I'm going to watch the footage along with you guys and explain my thought process and then what I was actually doing. Before we get into this though, I want to tell you about my thread. So I use Glide as always, but I use like a celery green color for my quilting. And I've said it before, green is a neutral, and I know that that probably sounds crazy to some of you guys, but in this quilt, this citron, I was very adamant that we included this when we designed my collection because this color is like the most underrated color out there because it helps make everything else pop. You see it a lot in home decor, especially with the teals and the dark navies and that are out there right now, that they're just so popular, but what makes it pop is having these little bits of teal or citron, and that just really makes everything come together. We have little bits of it in all of the fabrics, almost all the fabrics, and it really just accentuates that. So that is the color that I chose for my thread, and so it really coordinates well, and it sort of just adds another little element because you definitely do see it when you're going over the darker bits, but it coordinates beautifully and adds that little bit of pop that brings it to the next level. So when you're choosing your thread, you know, I could have easily done a gray on this, but I think that that green was the better choice because it just adds a little something extra and makes it a little less, you know, ho-hum blah. I know I use a lot of really basic colors a lot of the time, but this one deserved a little something special, and that was green. So, all right, let's watch the quilting. All right, so first of all, you can see that I've loaded my quilt on sideways. That's so I can quilt from top to bottom without having to break thread. So you can see here on my first pass, I'm trying to aim, just do a nice wavy line, but always going through those points. I want to always, when I pass through, go through one of the points, so that way it makes it look like everything is combined to a diamond. These are two separate blocks, but it looks very nice that way. All right, so that's pass number one. Now we're going to start pass number two. For this one, I'm going kind of close to the edge of the quilt, and the block. So I'm kind of going along the edge to the diamond here. I want to really get as close as I can to it without going over, because like I said, I want it to kind of create that custom look, like I had created it custom or quilted it custom, which I basically did, but in like a very easy free motion way. And again, I'm still going to those points when I'm passing over every single time with every single pass. All right, so here's pass number 2 or 3, and now I'm going on the other side and I'm going through again as close to the edge as I can. So when you're doing this, density is a very personal choice. So you need to decide how densely you like to quilt these, which is what is going to happen about next. But there's you always kind of want to start wide, because if you go very dense, then you're committed to that for the entire quilt, or else things are going to look weird. So that's why I started first with the middle pass, and then I did the two sides, because then I can pick how dense I want to be as I go in. All right, so here I am, I'm starting pass number 4 now, and I am quilting in between, but at this point I had decided that I wanted to do 2 passes in between the outermost and the center line. So I'm quilting about 1/3 of the way in at this point, and then we're gonna follow it up with 1 more. But again, I'm always going through those points whenever I'm traveling to the next diamond. All right, so here is our 4th pass. I've lost track. 1, 2, 3, yep, 4th pass. And this one is the one where I'm doing about 1/3 of the way again, this time closer to that middle. We did this one before, now we're doing this line. And there really is no rhyme or reason when I'm doing wavy lines. I just try not to cross over any of my other wavy lines, although that gets a little tricky when you're passing in between those points. But I just kind of want it to wiggle around and kind of be in like thirds in that case. All right, so now I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing it on the other half of that diamond. So I'm starting off with the outer, and then I'm gonna move to the next pass to that other third. I'm keeping in mind that we already did our center and our outside. So this entire pass, going through 1 diamond, is going to take 7 passes, but it's super fast. You're watching this in real time. It took me about 7 minutes per pass, so 7 minutes per diamond as I was going quilting from the top to the bottom with that quilt loaded on sideways. So it really went very fast. It was a really fun quilt to do because there really isn't a lot of rules except to have your lines be wavy and to try not to cross them. That was my only parameters for this. And then again, to try to keep the same density. So then when you do every other diamond, you're going to do the same process. You're going to start by quilting down the center, then you're going to do your outsides, then I did 2 more on either sides of that center, getting about 1/3 of the way in on each one, and it creates the same density all the way down. So that's where I said it's a really personal choice. I certainly could have gone more dense with this, I could have gone less, I could have just done 1 strip in between this instead of 2, but I really like the look of 2, and it made it go very quickly for me. All right, so now we are on the 2nd row, and you saw a little bit earlier I started at 1/2 because it doesn't start at a point like these do. It starts right in the middle. So I'm just going to start right in the middle, but then the rest of it is pretty much the same. You know, in this one it looks like I'm doing the outer one first. And so it really doesn't matter as long as you hit your parameters. You always are going to want to do your center and your outsides first to give you those parameters of where you don't want to go beyond. So here I'm doing the bottom. And then you want to work your way in from there, because that sort of gives you your guides of where you don't want to go too close to, and then you're able to get your 1s and your 3rds together. All right, so here we are starting, and you can see real clearly it was that triangle. So I started right in the middle of the triangle because I wanted to do my middle row. And that's really the only difference, is every other one, you're either gonna be starting at a point and working your way around, or you're gonna be starting at a flat triangle and still doing the same lines, but your starting points are, you know, spread out more here, whereas they are all starting from the same point when you're doing the points. It's not hard at all. I'm gonna let you go ahead and just watch as I go through the rest of it, and you can see it's really fast. So it took about 15 minutes tops just to do those 2 rows, and it went just, the whole quilt was done in an afternoon. So that is really not a lot of time to invest in a quilt, especially considering it took way longer than that to piece. The results are fabulous. I really love the texture that it created. It's a custom look, but it's not like ridiculously long commitment of time to do it. well, that was it. I hope you really enjoyed this quilting play-by-play to see how you can really do something fun and fast and simple, but still have a custom look and create some good density when you're quilting. So you no longer have to feel like you just need to go really big and not have a lot of texture in order to just get it done. You can still do everything and be really efficient with your time by just planning. And this is just a wavy line. It's very beginner friendly, and you can do this with a walking foot too on your home sewing machine very easily. We've got an entire video on that as part of our beginner quilting series. So that's something that you easily could do at home as well if you don't have a long arm like I do. And it just has such great results, and I just love it. And I just can't emphasize enough, like, your quilts deserve more than just one big all over something or other that barely holds it together. If you can do something dense but quick and easy, it looks fabulous every time, and you will never regret it. All right, so make sure you check out Congruence on our website. We have kits for this available. This is my fabric collection Nocturne that came out earlier this year, and it's a no neutral quilt, so it's really fun. It really shows off the colors, and the colors are very on trend right now in home decor, so it will look beautiful. And because there's no neutral, you don't have to worry about kids or pets or husbands who spill their coffee messing it up, because it will hide it. It'll be fine. And then also we've got the tutorial for piecing it. We have the kits, and the pattern is available in my book, Backorder Workshop, which is a bestseller on Amazon, and that's super exciting. So go check that out. You can get a signed copy from us over at shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. Until next time, happy quilting.